No, I was just raising a beer, not my hand.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of The 12, our epic campaign of discovery and adventure across the continent of Corsair. This story will stream live on Sundays at 6 p.m. Central here on Javelin Entertainment. If you missed the last session, you can check it out on our channel page or by clicking the link down in the description.
Last week, the party had found themselves knocked into the sea by the tentacles of the Kraken right as the Crimson Haze were boarding the Morrigan. Jasira struggled in the water, unable to swim, while Boko and Sindri were thrashed into the oncoming ships. Sindri climbed up the hole and called out a challenge to those nearby as the others rushed into the fray. Boko followed him up and was immediately knocked prone by a grease spell and set upon by a mysterious masked pirate. Despite dealing a deadly blow powered by a necromantic energy, the small corsair proved to be a tricky foe with illusory magic. Jade pulled up Jasira, who tried to heal one of the wounded, but Muda dropped in and confronted her, avoiding blow after blow. As the battle was raging, Clyde was nowhere to be found, choosing to stay beneath decks with Yves and an invisible princess, when a voice called out to him. Perplexed by the whispers, he searched out a locked box and with some help broke open the item within, before finally heading up towards the deck. Back on the Morrigan, Etienne Larocque had cut down Tiff, but Roland's quick healing word got him back onto his feet as Aegon helped to face off against the Crimson Haze officer. Cade dropped a moonbeam down on some of the pirates, and with Tiff's help, Jasira unloaded a gem-packed punch that left nothing but Muta's head but the skull. Sindri tried belly-flopping onto a goliath, while Boko traded necromancy notes with Bloodbane, and a wild demon took over the other Larocque brother. From the shadows, Yves dropped into the fray, knocking down Magnus, and after some quick acrobaticals, Jasira was well as he scampered below decks, leaving the chaos of his crew to the pride. Roland was finally able to look like the sniper he always claimed to be by dropping the Goliath and Bloodbane with cross-ship shots. Somewhere in the background was a baby dragon turtle doing somersaults or something. It was total madness! But a clever shot from Roland gave Morannon the opening she needed to cleave off Derthax's head and end the fight. As Jasira tried to stabilize Magnus, Clyde rushed after Yves and found him lighting a fuse and reading from a scroll. Clyde and Jasira paired up to stop the fuse from blowing the ship to smithereens, while Morannon, Corwin, and Clyde then broke into the barrier around Yves, just as he was slipping through a portal. Clyde, Corwin, and Sindri dove in after him, and the portal skewed shut, leaving the rest to sort out the aftermath. What will happen to our relocated rapscallions? Where will our pirate pals choose to venture next? What was in the box? Let's tune in and find out.
That may have been the best recap I've ever fucking heard in my life.
So, as this portal has closed and Jasira has found her way back over to the Pride, you all are kind of picking up the pieces from the fight that had occurred. And so we'll move over to that one here so that you can see. Let's see.
Bottom of the page.
But yes, as Clyde, Sindri, and Corwin had disappeared off into this portal, we were still at the tail end of this fight. And the rest of you, having finished up the pirates on deck, had come to a point where there were no enemies, but plenty of wounded. Some already dead, some in the process of dying. And so many of you began to move about, doing what you could to try and heal them or bring them to some central area where the healers could gain access to them. Boko, on the other hand, was across on the Red Ruin still and had clasped a jade bracelet around Bloodbane. However, who was still, at least for the now, unconscious, but stabilized. So as you all are here in the aftermath of this battle, looking across, what would you like to do?
I'm going to try to drag this body over to Morannon and try to get it onto the Pride, locked up below deck, and completely remove anything that could be vaguely considered a weapon or piece of clothing.
So you're stripping him completely naked? Just everything?
Yeah, I am not taking any chance of this guy strangling me with his undergarments.
And where were you putting him?
Do a cavity
I'm
search.
trying to get him to the Pride and below deck chained.
Austin, I don't like that the stream layout just has 2 characters missing. I don't like it.
2 characters are missing.
What do you mean? It has a
A ghost. Also, Boko, you should definitely make sure to drag him through Cade's moonbeam while it's still up.
Absolutely not. Prisoners are generally more useful if they're alive.
For Roland, Cade, and Jasira, anyone else on deck, you all see that once the Kraken had been kind of disposed of and left to fall, the larger dragon turtle had been speeding over to the docks and is upon this smaller dragon turtle had kind of plopped down back into the water. And as these 2 dragon turtles meet, it is very evident for anyone who has seen a maternal relation that this is the mother of the creature, and stands upon the deck kind of calling things out to the turtle. And I think, Roland, are you the only one who speaks Draconic?
An option anymore, is he?
Corwin is not visible right now.
Valaris is there, right?
Valaris had taken a considerable beating from the Kraken fight, and is currently kind of recovering, but he is able to be found.
Yeah. I wonder if... We have some free time, don't we?
I mean, right now, in the moment, everybody is kind of... It's organized chaos. It's people checking vitals, moving bodies, taking wounded to try and get them healed, or get them taken care of and stabilized as best they can. But there's not any direction from any clear direction. Even the captain is kind of like trying to process all of this as she stands kind of watching, making sure that things are happening the way that they should, but trying to process what's happened and take an assessment of the situation.
Then I think I will take the time. I apologize, everybody. The time to do just a little bit of microsurgery on this individual as they are chained up. I'm just going to open up their wrists, sever all the tendons so they can't make any somatic components. Make sure that they are well and truly non-magical.
Give me a medicine check for this as you try to do this without
Severing other things.
Yeah.
Given my history,
advancing this individual's. Sorry, what?
Given my preclusions, would you accept a tinkerer's check instead? Since this is technically a modification of the body.
Sure, but it'll be at a higher DC that way.
Oh, lovely. Well, that's pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm there to cast guidance or not.
No, probably not. Boko had kind of done this very quickly, leaving Cade, Jasira, and thrashed, as well as Roland, all kind of on the deck processing what had happened. And Cade, you had seen Sindri kind of duck in, and he hasn't come back out yet.
Yeah, I was waiting for my turn. Has Jasira crossed onto this side of the boat?
She did.
Yes.
Where's Clyde? Where's Sindri?
Clyde was over there in the captain's quarters, and I think Sindri rushed past me to get there.
I'm going to be frantically looking. Do I see them anywhere on deck?
Give me a perception check.
Da, 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 da.
There was some spoopy magic over there.
Yeah, looking across the deck, you don't see any sign of them. There are tons of bodies everywhere, but just scanning the decks, you don't see any sign of them one way or another. And kind of even looking through the water to see if they got knocked over, you don't see any. There are a couple bodies in the water, but you don't see Sindri or Clyde.
I will cross to the Red Ruin then and go look at the office, because I know that is the last place I saw Sindri was running in there.
Yeah, you cross very quickly, ducking inside, and you see kind of a small office space with a doorway that is open, and there are just barrels and barrels of black powder.
What did he do? I'm just gonna start asking anyone that's left on the Red Ruin if they've seen Sindri and Clyde.
For the most part, most individuals have been kind of taking those who were injured on the Red Ruin back. But you do see, as you're kind of like looking back and forth, as Captain Morannon has kind of come back across, and she kind of comes and meets you. They are gone. They passed through some sort of portal.
Those fucking idiots. Do you have any more info?
Corwin has a sending stone on him. I expect he will contact as soon as he is able. But until then, I do not know.
Okay. I'm just gonna immediately use the necklace that I have, and I'm gonna send a message to Sindri. Let's see. I'll count on my fingers. Sindri, it's Cade. Where the fuck are you? You disappeared off the ship. Are you safe? Where's Clyde? Are you guys okay? And it's just gonna kind of be like frantic, like fire, 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 fire.
Okay.
The one question cuts off in the middle.
Yeah.
Nick, are you on? Would you like to answer that as best you can?
At what point would I be when I hear this?
This is maybe a minute or two into what happened.
Okay, so we're looking over the edge at this point.
Yeah, essentially.
Excuse me?
Why am I still at water? Oh, huh? Wait, where are you? Oh, no, I think I'm fine, but I'm still surrounded by water, and that's probably where it cuts out. And
the only way would have been better if you would have ended with "wait."
I think I'm okay. Wait.
It's like the Obi-Wan Kenobi the droids come across.
Yeah, Cade's just massaging a headache of what this day has been. Well, that was completely uninformative. Sindri, and I'm assuming the party seems to be alive. They're still near water. But Sindri's not the most reliable narrative and didn't exactly give me a lot of info with his reply.
Well, knowing that they were safe, I'm sure we will get more information from Corwin shortly.
Yes, he seems a little bit more reliable. And I'm just gonna kind of look around at just like, basically just the destruction of everything that's going on.
And Jasira, what are you doing?
Great timing for me to put on mute. I think that given the fact that she cannot actually heal anybody, she will assist whatever healers there are to try to help stabilize or follow them around. She doesn't really have much else on her mind, minus the fact that she's just happy she's not dead. So,
why don't you give me a general medicine check?
okie dokie.
General medicine.
Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah, you do fairly well at kind of providing a nurse type role as people are moving back and forth, doing what you can to assist. A lot of this is somewhat latently familiar to you, wanting to provide these types of skills. There seems to be some almost unconscious memory of a previous battle and assisting the wounded that comes into play here.
Deja vu.
Okay. In the meantime, Roland, what are you doing?
I am doing, after my first initial check on anyone I could quickly patch up with Spare the Dying, there's other more capable people at actually applying bandages. He's more of the stop the bleeding now, figure out whether or not the limb needs to be amputated later kind of guy. But he's going to start doing the same for the ship now, making sure that ropes are pulled together, making sure that nothing else is going to crack off and fall and hurt someone.
On the Pride?
And yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and just give me a general intelligence check. We'll say with proficiency for this from your background.
Okay.
So what is that? Is that nature that is the one that works for that?
No, I am not proficient in nature. Nature is not found in a library. Look here.
Yeah, a couple moths.
Religion.
Religion,
is the
that's
one
what
that
it
I'm
is.
proficient but not expert.
Ooh.
But nature's not right, so it could be in a library.
You read a book about it once.
So as you begin to move around the Pride, the first thing that you notice is it is still seaworthy. Despite a lot of the deck being damaged, the rails kind of being broken, and even the main mast having been split, this ship can still sail. One of the benefits of having multiple masts is that if one goes down, there is still some power behind the others. And it seems like a lot of it is superficial damage, where for better or for worse, the Kraken was focused on taking out the people rather than taking out the ship. And it seems that there was intelligence or purpose behind that. A creature attacking a ship as large as the Kraken would not have been able to leave the hole this intact without trying to. And that's the first thing that is kind of very clearly evident. As you go through kind of doing what you can to shore up pieces and make sure everything is roughly intact as best as possible, you also kind of eventually make your way over to the ruin, kind of assessing its state, understanding what is currently here. And you notice that their ship is made specifically to resist fire. And many of the weapons that they utilize are fire-based, and yet they didn't use really any of them. There was a little bit used in the battle here and there, but for the most part, none of them were utilized to inflict any fire-like harm onto the Pride. Which, while it has some resistance to it, it's clearly not to the level that the Red Ruin is. And as you're kind of walking across the boards, you also notice this, what almost feels like this slight vibration within the wood. It's nothing tangible, but it's just kind of a feeling that you have, just this innate connection with vessels. There's something strange about the ship itself.
Okay. There's just something odd about the Pride.
About the Red Ruin.
Oh, about the Red Ruin. In what way? Beyond being a ship that doesn't catch fire.
It's more this slight like hum or vibration almost within the wood of the ship itself. If it's like if you closed your eyes and just felt this low bassy roll that is just like tells you that there is a presence of something, but doesn't really indicate more than that. It's just something is more than what it fully appears. But what it is specifically, you're not able to put your finger on it.
I'm gonna go looking. If I
Below
can't
deck.
put my finger on it, I'm gonna start poking.
As you begin to walk around the deck, kind of working your way inside, you kind of move by Cade, kind of assessing and talking over. You hear her voice kind of scattered across the air as she calls out to someone somewhere. And you pass in through this office and this room just piled high with black powder barrels. And as you kind of make your way through another door on that level, you find that there is this throne just covered with viscera and sewn with various skins and piled high with skulls. There is a bridge that is made out of different bones and that kind of crisscrosses this area, and you look down and there is a hole almost through the decks, kind of ripped through the decks, and far below you see piles of gold and gemstones. But there are multiple decks in between there where these different bone-made walkways just crisscross back and forth.
Alrighty then. Spooky throne, lots of gold. Oh gosh.
I'll let you process that with that for a moment. As we get to Boko. Boko, as you are down below, you begin to do this surgically on this individual in a way that avoids any type of damage to this entity, where they would not survive. And as you had removed the various weapons and armor that they wore, you noticed that the entire skin, everywhere, was tattooed with different colors, reds and blacks and whites, some more skin tone to look almost like painted, but every inch of this individual is tattooed. And it seems that when you're doing this surgery, that there is a tangible, not complete lack of blood, but a tangible loss of blood that doesn't seem to be hampering this individual's movement. or behavior. But they have considerably less blood than a normal individual would have. And they do seem to be human. Their head is completely shaven, eyebrows, hair, facial hair. They do appear to be masculine. But other than that, there are very few notable features. And their eyes almost seem to have this inked pigment that have been put into them to make them kind of this solid black-red color underneath. And you didn't even really see eye holes on the mask, so it's not an intimidation factor. It's something else entirely. But this individual has extensive bodily modifications.
Can I just check the various joint lines and see if this is actually a person or if this was a creation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just with that check, you can very clearly see that this is not sewn together or created in the way that you're familiar with. This is an individual. And even just with the surgery you've done, with what you've seen, with how they are still continuing to breathe as they're here, they don't appear to be animated or reanimated or magically controlled. They seem to be just altered.
Interesting. With my basic knowledge of human fortitude, the modifications that this individual has at this time and point, would a normal, like, hardy individual be able to survive these kind of modifications? Are they that extreme, or is it mostly just, I guess, artistic?
So the ones on the skin are certainly extreme, but are theoretically survivable, but it must have been immense pain to put in all of those tattoos, especially in some of the spots where they are at. Whatever is happening with the eyes would have almost certainly caused him to go blind. And whatever is happening inside the body, whatever alteration that was to change the amount of blood that was in them, is almost certainly would have killed a normal individual. There's no way that a individual could have typically survived not having that type of traditional blood flow.
Are any of these religious looking to me?
Give me a religion check.
Make sure I have this going public this time.
Thank you so much for making that public.
So nothing is obviously religious, but it does certainly seem symbolic. Again, the fact that the eyes are altered, even though they couldn't be seen, it shows that this was more than a intimidation factor. And this is kind of additionally proven by the fact that some of the tattoos are kind of a skin tone, skin color. Many of these things are not meant to be clearly visible or clearly identifiable for what they are.
I think I will do what I can to make sure this person is completely disarmed. If they have anything good on them, I will make note of it. But after making sure that they are not a threat, but are potentially a good source of information, I will return to the top deck and begin immersing myself in other work. Specifically, I want to see if there's anything on the Red Ruin that I can salvage resources from. But we'll get to that, I suppose.
All right, Boko, you head up onto the deck, and at the same time kind of see Roland kind of coming out of this, kind of trying to process all of what he's seen. And you can see the captain as well, who is kind of walking around trying to process. They're trying to move the last few bodies off of the Red Ruin and over onto the Pride.
I think I'll join Roland then.
I'll give Boko a bit of a nod as he walks over, and I'm going to head to Morannon.
She looks up at you as you approach. Yeah.
Captain, something you should probably see.
All right. What is it?
The first bit defies explanation. You really have to see it. The second bit is the ruins horde.
All right. She'll follow you.
And I'll take her back there and show the throne and basically say, watch your step, with the hole.
There is something unnatural about this place.
Very.
When I cut down Barmore, his body, it shook viscerally, and the seams almost seemed to break forth this noxious, corrosive slime. The ship, I do not consider myself terribly superstitious, but it feels cursed. It's beneficial.
I was thinking about how we were going to take it back and keep it until I saw this.
As beneficial as it might be to have another ship, I don't like what is going on here, and everything that I have seen has left me more concerned than the last. I would not recommend taking anything from here. It's perhaps best that we leave it to the depths of the ocean.
Boko will also speak up. He's going to say, consider these perhaps the ramblings of a strange man, but what you said about their captain, I found something similar in one of the officers, the crew members. Something that marks him as not human. I think the bodies we retrieve from these ship, if they are to stay aboard the Pride, we must treat them as if they can come back at any time. Superstitions aside, there is something very not right about them.
And Boko, you can see that most of the ruins bodies are kind of piled up in the center of the red ruin, and she kind of looks at you. I'd intended to burn the bodies along with this dreadful ship.
I did take one below deck. I tried my hardest to make sure he is no longer a threat to us, but perhaps could be a source of information for us.
We'll keep eyes on him. And if he awakes, or if he alters himself, we'll be swift.
Boko nods.
It would be useful to have some information on how they knew and what was going on.
Roland's gonna take one last look kind of over the edge at the glittering horde below and just go, well,
Boko.
Spirit is going to tell me not to take any loot. I'd best listen. And he'll walk away.
Boko is going to look at Roland and say, stop drooling.
I mean, can you really blame him? That's some very pretty sparkly gold.
Yeah. Did she explicitly
So much for that.
Did she explicitly say, don't touch it?
She said, I'm not
What I got
particularly
was-
superstitious, but this place feels cursed. I would not recommend taking anything from this ship.
Yeah.
What I got was bad vibes, don't touch.
But what are you going to do?
Touch.
Let's lose another party member today, guys.
You already lost two.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
one more?
We gotta keep the rate going.
This, from our position right here, can we see this throne?
You guys have kind of walked in, and you're kind of standing just outside of this, what seemed to be the captain quarters. And you actually see a ladder going up, and then there's the throne right in front of you. So yeah, you can see it from there. And then down a couple decks is where this just pile of gold and treasure and loot is.
I really want to.
Does this throne seems significant of some kind, either religiously, magically, or at the center of some curse? By looking at it from here, is there anything that me and Roland together can put our minds together and identify? Or any significance?
Human skin.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds pretty ritualistic to me.
There's no wood on it. It's all bone.
Yeah, it sounds pretty ritualistic to me.
So,
And
a normal
Cade,
Tuesday for Boko.
Cade, you do also know that the Crimson Haze pirates did have quite the reputation for their grim and grisly tactics. Even though this looks especially strange for many of the others, there might be more going on here, but this is not necessarily unexpected for these particular pirates.
I'm not surprised. Look, these guys were bastards through and through. There was not a good bone in any of their bodies. Nothing to sympathize with, nothing to like. They were truly horrendous people, so the fact that his throne is made out of bones and skin really doesn't surprise me. But, honestly, I agree with, Captain Morrigan. It's probably best we leave this to the bottom of the ocean. May they all, enjoy their watery grave.
Boko's gonna look at Roland.
I know. Shiny things. Believe me, you don't think I want all that gold down there? I probably want it more than you do.
What would you build with it?
God, that kind of gold.
Boko looks at Roland and goes, "Do you still have that rope?"
Left in the library.
Roland, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I haven't actually added rope to my inventory.
You don't have it then. None of us
Although he would have picked some up.
No.
I
Zero
believe
rope.
if you go back and rewatch the recording, I said as soon as I got to a ship, I was
Zero
going to
rope.
get rope.
Clyde took it with him.
Yeah, I would have
what
traded
are
it
you
for that gem.
thinking?
There is plenty of rope on this ship if you need rope. Rope is not in low
Is the
demand
rope
on a
also
ship.
cursed?
Is the rope fireproof? That would be cool.
That would be dope.
I would consider it fire resistant.
Yeah, fireproof is a dangerous term to throw about.
Yeah, we don't have certifications for
The
that.
specificity of our DM is frightening.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Boko will look at Roland and Cade and he'll say, "The captain said something feels off, but if we put our minds together, I'm sure we can figure something out. There is only one way to see, for sure."
What end, though? If you just say curiosity, I will take Roland's gun and shoot you.
Damn.
Good luck.
Just
Boko-
joking, but trying to convey a point
silent
here.
for a long minute, but he says, "Curiosity, yes, this is... I would lie if I said no to that, but Israel once told me something along the lines of, a dead man's gold spins."
Carefully. I'm fine looking at all of this carefully, but whatever they're involved in was deep, shit. Not just normal, but very bad people that like to skin others alive.
I mean,
This
that's
is
pretty
true.
bad, too, on its own.
Yes, but that's mundane, okay? There's nothing arcane or sinister, well, more than just being a rotten, terrible individual. You said you and the captain said you felt something was fundamentally off with this ship.
Yes.
Then that means that they're...
Okay. I respectfully request we look into this together. For the same reason, we turn to you, Captain, for matters of the water, and to you, Roland, for matters of the book. Matters beyond life, beyond death. Things that are inexplicable to nature. This is where my expertise lies.
Okay, but I'm just pointing out that the last time you did something like this, you got spat out of a hole, and you were very crispy.
And the time before that, Jasira nearly died.
And we lost someone to a bird creature.
Boko nods and he says, I have died many times. And I will say, almost dying, it does not count. It is not the same.
Well, look, I've never died, and I would very much like to keep it that way. So whatever you're going to do, I will assist cautiously. But
Also,
please
if you're
just don't touch random things.
If you're going to ask me who I trust more when it comes to the topic of staying alive, I will trust the person who has never died over the person who has died many times.
That is a good point. I do think I was asking for you to trust me about matters beyond the grave, though.
You do raise a point when it comes to matters of expertise. And he'll lay a hand on your shoulder and cast guidance with a grip, like the one like right at the collarbone that you go, ah. Let's go carefully.
Lifeline around the waist. Just in case.
I'd
Hand
also
them-
like to say, please be careful. I'm nearly tapped out for today, so if you do something very stupid, I might not be able to fix it.
No, I definitely can't. I can take my rifle out and shoot you.
Fair point.
But I spent all of my magical ability on Tiff.
Did we get... Wait, didn't you guys just unlock... Or you just unlocked a third spell slot, or do you not get that until tomorrow?
Until a long rest.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
so am
have
still
2
level 4.
spell slots left. I'm just telling you that I am low.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Let's go check it out. I'm gonna try to make my way towards this throne first.
Okay.
I will essentially have the other end of the rope and I'll belay him while he does crazy shit and then cast guidance periodically.
Periodic guidance.
I'll alternate also casting guidance.
You don't have resistance in there, just both coverage.
I am inspecting the throne and they are backseat interrogating me. Like, wait, no, don't, not that.
I just
Watch your foot!
So, approaching this throne, are there any markings of any kind on it?
Give me an investigation check.
I didn't mean to click that.
Investigation.
So, looking over this throne, it's gives off the vibe of a throne, but really all it is a chair. If normal chairs were made of bone instead of wood, and used skin for their upholstery.
This is a normal chair, except that it is completely not a normal chair.
Like the chair in my dining room.
But looking across it, it seems well worn from someone spending a lot of time in it. But there don't appear to be any markings, no languages, no runes, not even a hatch mark.
Looking at this flesh, is it well preserved, or is this more of a replace it every couple days after a raid kind of chair?
For this one, it seems to be fairly well preserved. It seems to be almost tanned or finished with some sort of material to allow it to maintain a longer use.
It concerns me that you said for this one. But looking here, there doesn't appear to be any ritualistic decoration, overt ritualistic decoration. It seems more like you kind of have to be in the know to know what's going on here.
Perhaps. But yeah, you don't see anything obvious.
Interesting. I think we're going to have to take a look a little bit closer to what could be cursed gold then. Boko will just call out across this little bridge. He'll say,
Give it the old taste test.
Yeah.
Are
there, with my investigation, do there appear to be any hatches, pockets? Can I check the couch cushions for coins kind of thing?
There are fairly clearly no hidden pockets. There's not like there's a thick frame on here that it's made of bone, and so it's easy to see through. And there doesn't really appear to be much of a cushion. Just kind of a upholstered place in between the bone to sit and provide some support.
Then I'll call back to Roland and Cade. It seems like this is nothing more than simply a seat of some kind. Perhaps a more trained religious man would be more familiar. Roland.
I'll head over there and get. Yep, I'll look it over from a religious perspective, looking for any symbols or racking my brains for reading about a god that accepts laid sacrifices and you know, in that one book that I read when I was 12.
Sure, give me a religion check. So as far as flaying goes specifically, there is a god known as the Flayed God. It's less so in traditional observations of what is called the sovereign host, but there are sects of the faith that acknowledge what are known as kind of a combination of the sovereign host with the entities known as the Dark Six. And one of those individuals is known as the Mockery in the Dark Six, but who you know is often referred to by a sect of the religious organizations called the Three Faces of War as Dul Azor, also known as the Flayed God, revered by those who are forced to suffer for others. He is often called the betrayer by those in the sovereign host who even acknowledge his existence. But to those in the Three Faces of War, he is seen as more a sacrificial entity, one who takes on pain and suffering for something greater. And the Three Faces of War looks at all three of the Doles, Dol Ara, Dol Dorn, and Dol Azur. But some other individuals who just focus in on worship of the Dark Six might pull out a single individual of those six. And so some worship the mockery on his own. But that is one of the few individuals in common religious organizations that has anything to do with flaying or sacrifice.
That one book I read when I was 12 came in handy.
At a
That's
dark
what
childhood.
you were reading when you were 12?
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you grow up in a backwater town without many books, the few books that do get widely circulated are likely to be religious texts.
Boko is going to look at Roland and he's going to say, now for something perhaps more exciting. If this gold is indeed cursed, you may have to pull me up very quickly.
Let's make sure the rope is tied off first.
And I'm going to make sure it's tied, and then when we're all socked away here, going to try to do a Spider-Man action. But rather than like mostly man kind of spider, this is like really spider, a little bit of man.
So instead of Spider-Man, you're Man Spider?
Man
Spider. Down the wall.
He's gonna check the nods and then, play, assist on for Roland so we can. There's two people holding Boko up.
I'm thinking a knot that like we can tie it off so that he can't go down any further, but then also can very easily grab it and just run. Rather than doing hand
Jade will
over
put
hand.
in some really nice knots in there. Make sure we're all secure.
Yeah.
Boko is climbing down the wall, and Cade and Roland are practicing their knot lore. Interesting.
We're trying to make sure that we can get you back up and you don't die.
Much appreciated.
Can't say anything about horribly cursed, but...
Don't worry, I was in Dragon Scout.
All right. And as Boko is being lowered down, we're actually going to take a quick 2-minute break, and I'll be right back.
just making jokes at each other's expense.
Solid options. Okay. So Boko, as you are being lowered down from this by Cade and Roland, as you're going down as Man Spider, you get lower and lower, and you can see again that it is just this large pile of gold coins and gemstones and various other types of like candelabras and jewelry boxes. All of this different types of loot that is just scattered throughout here, that just seems to have been piled. And as you're passing, you kind of see these different decks and hangouts. It looks like people just came and tossed in their loot in to make this one large pile. It doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason to it.
Am I feeling anything as I'm getting deeper into the bowels of the ship?
Nothing
An
immediately
unwavering
apparent.
compulsion to fill your pockets.
And then as I'm passing, just like deck to deck, just do like a quick glance and see if there's anything significant on that, like through the doors or anything on the deck.
Most of them have closed doors. Usually they're kind of like broken wood that is kind of making a makeshift platform. And then there's a door that's closed. But you don't see anything of note outside of some places for light where a torch is hanging.
You're going down, and then one of the door opens. It's Tiff. He looks at you. The rope stops. He closes the door. The rope starts again.
Awkward nod. I feel like there are secrets on this ship, and we need to do a better job exploring it before we just think it and move on. But I will voice
That's how we
those when I
felt about
return
the
to
city with the ravens in it. And little Agent 00 Chickadee.
Yeah. I will continue down to the gold line, I guess. Water line, gold line.
The gold line.
Yeah.
The gold line and the water line a different line.
They slowly lower you, and you get within a few inches of the gold, just kind of hovering above it, where you can reach out and touch it if you wanted.
Do I feel anything weird? Bad vibes?
Nothing immediately apparent. It looks like gold. You kind of look and listen and feel. Nothing comes to you.
Reach out and touch a piece of gold.
It bites you. No, it feels like cold metal.
It's
You
a
come
coin
down
in
with
it.
gold sickness. You have to take it all.
Gold
Everything.
sickness.
Boko is going to pick up that piece of gold, crawl maybe 5-6 feet up the wall, and just give it a toss into the middle of the room.
Into the middle of this like treasure room?
Mhm.
Yeah, and you it just kind of tumbles down the pile and rolls to a stop.
Boko looks up to Roland and Cade up in the distance.
I said carefully.
The bag of holding comes off the hip.
Start pulling.
Knife comes out of the holster.
Stop pulling.
Boko, I had
Just
no
let him go
idea
down
you were
with the
so
ship.
gold hungry.
Okay. You begin to pile just armfuls of this loot into the bag of holding.
Can you please at least
Hungry,
check
hungry
for-
hippo style.
Can you? Oh,
I
Why are
am
we
still
letting you
holding
do
on to
this?
the edge. I can only spare like 4 legs and an arm to just like.
why are we letting him do this?
Because gold is nice.
I wish I were there for this conversation.
I mean, we're not that far away from you. You can probably hear us.
Immediately undercut everything from now on. You tell me not to do.
And I suppose if one of the three of us is going to get cursed, we won't notice it if it's him.
I mean, fair enough. He does kind of already seem like he's cursed.
Yeah, pretty much. What's one more? If you're already cursed, then why not just bring on another curse?
Gotta catch
Mixing
'em all.
curses never goes wrong.
I am just gonna toss down the hole to say, remember, if you're going to go for the gold, just go for the gold. Don't touch any idols or things with shiny red eyes, okay?
I was literally 30 seconds. I was waiting to the end of this conversation to go, can I see if there's anything really cool down here?
Oh, goodness.
Does anything catch
Oh,
my
can I?
eye?
Sure. Give me an investigation check.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no. We're gonna find the flayed idol.
Looking across here, you do see a couple things that look just strange. One is this kind of small glass eye. You see another that is a single caltrop that's kind of made from bone. You look over at another, and there's kind of this scrap of this old cloth banner. There's a couple of vials with liquid that are unidentifiable. There's a few hands that just have multiple rings on them, but the hands are just tossed down there with all the rings on them.
Ooh, take those.
You also see this small sewn doll with just pins all over it, kind of poking in at different sides.
No.
Poke it.
And then nearby that is this kind of pendant, but it's just this long claw finger, but it's all just bone. There's no flesh or anything, and it's attached to some sort of strand.
With the bones, take the cannoli.
I'm definitely taking the voodoo doll.
Damn it.
Of course you would.
Scooped into the bag of holding.
You do realize that that's the most likely thing to be cursed, right?
That's exactly why I
I
wanted
think the bone pendant is probably slightly more likely.
I don't know.
Sure.
It's really close there.
It is really close, but I think the difference is that the doll is more likely to
It's probably tied to
someone else
someone.
other than you.
Yeah.
Porque no los dos.
Yeah. Boko is walking now on the gold and going, oh, piece candy. Oh, piece candy. Oh, piece candy.
Okay, Boko, we specifically said be careful. It really seems like you're not being careful anymore.
Boko gestures to the rope. Boko's progressed a lot as an individual. This is very safe. This is like
Boko,
light years.
as you're starting to move around, you kind of shifting through, there is this slight vibration underneath the gold.
Oh. They have a fucking dragon down there.
You don't know this.
They have a fucking dragon down there.
Boko's gonna reach down, grab the voodoo doll, try to collect some of the rings, make his way back towards the wall.
As soon as I see Boko
Leisurely
backing
strolling,
up,
what a care
I'm
in the
pulling.
world.
Can
Give
I
me
try
a-
to play it off like it's not a big deal?
Give me
Boko
a-
just went from kid in a candy shop to backing away from the van that says free candy.
You're gonna
and
need a hefty deception or performance check here.
Oh yeah, absolutely gonna happen. Oh my god!
You're moonwalking backwards as he's pulling
Roland,
you.
if you want to roll that insight for me, you can.
Oh.
Boko reaches down, grabs the sunglasses off the ground, and puts them on, looking at Roland.
Insight, you say?
Son of a bitch! I can't beat that.
Cade is having none of your shit.
I
Nope,
rolled
nope.
Cade's modifier.
Cade is watching, and Cade's like, nope, something's wrong, something's wrong. Pull! Stop pulling!
Alright, yep. We haul away.
Boko, you start to get yanked upwards as you kind of slip and push off. The coins kind of slide off to the side, and as you get lifted up into the air, the coins actually continue to move, and they begin to rise and writhe, and you see these red scales start to pierce from underneath the coins as you're being pulled up further and further. This long net kind of pulls over and just begins to move up, and just these large jaws snap towards your legs, but you are just out of range as it falls back down, and you can see this small red dragon whose wings have been clipped and pulled free and just is now walking around the gold pile with these eyes watching.
Oh, fuck, not another dragon.
You are so lucky that Cade made that insight check.
Boko gets to the top and immediately plays it off like nothing is wrong.
And behind your back, nothing. No, there's nothing there.
Boko gets to the top and he looks at Kid and he goes, "We should probably tell the captain that there is a dragon on this ship."
Really? No
Good
shit.
luck with that. I'm getting back to the pride.
Boko is going to hold one of the hands with rings out to Roland.
I'll identify them later.
Yeah, we'll look at them later. Let's get away from the dragon. Although I am mildly kind of cool. I can say I've escaped 2 dragons now. Kind of cool. And I'm gonna quickly run out of the room.
And Cade, as you kind of run out back onto the deck, just kind of looking around, you do now get a closer look at part of this ship, and the figurehead on this ship is a large dragon's head. And at first you thought it was just carved, but you actually now see that there are red scales upon it. That this massive dragon's head on the figurehead was at one time an actual dragon.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, lovely.
Take the figurehead, burn the rest.
That means that we can loot it for dragon teeth.
Yeah, actually, I would love to go do that because I have a feat that lets me salvage materials from things.
Okay.
I mean, I guess when we're coming out, I'll look at the head and kind of back at the captain's quarters. I'll just be like, well, I guess they really did have a thing for red dragons. I thought that thing was real, though, to be honest.
Perhaps this would convince the captain not to sink the ship directly. Beyond that, though, I do not know.
No, I do think we still want to sink the ship.
More XP if we kill the dragon.
Does drowning it count as
Level
XP?
Too bad we use milestone.
Killing a dragon's gotta be a milestone. Come on, it's Dungeons and Dragons.
Cade will scamper back over to the Pride and go tell the captain that there is a small red dragon aboard.
I'm gonna go start trying to get some scales off of that figurehead.
Okay.
That's where the curse actually is.
And if you want to paste the ability,
I will cast guidance on you again.
Should we start calling you Shadowheart?
I prefer the shortened version. We just call it
Shart.
short.
Do you want to go ahead? Let's see. We'll do Tinker's Tools, I guess will work for these.
I also have Leatherworker's Tools if it matters.
I'd say
There you
either would
go.
be applicable here.
Happy Boko.
Happy Boko?
Make you dragon teeth ammunition now.
Bless.
Hey!
21.
All right. And so you're trying to grab the scales?
Yes, specifically, if there is any functional like leather with the scales intact, that'll work too.
Okay. You get probably about 2 foot squared sized spots of leather with scales on it. And then roll me a d20 for additional scales that you're able to pull free.
So, hey, better to be a Shadowheart than a Starion.
Hmm?
Ten scales?
Yep. 10 scales and then 2 strips of dragon leather with the scale still on it.
Perfect. Then I'm going to the pride.
And Cade, as you go
No
and
dragon teeth?
talk to the captain, is nearby and is just like, oh, no, this is something I'll go see. And immediately like heads over to the other ship. But you have relayed the message over there. And the rest of you are you all making your way back over to the Pride as well? Roland?
So I'm helping Boko with getting the stuff off of the figurehead, and then I see Iz just like darting into the. I'm like, oh no, dang it! Just follow him down to make sure he doesn't go dive into some gold.
Again.
Yeah, he kind of just moves up to the ledge and kind of looks down, and the dragon is still there, kind of walking around in circles, kind of looking up, and just kind of giving a growl, and it like opens up its mouth and just closes. And he just, well, I'll be damned. That's something you don't see every day.
And now I've seen it twice in one day. Let's go.
Either. That dragon has spent its fire breath and has not yet rolled a 5 or a 6. Or it is maimed and I am only alive because it was maimed.
Yes. I mean, that's why it doesn't have wings.
Danger.
But yeah, is kind of, after seeing it, makes his way back out and goes towards the captain, and the two begin to share some words. The rest of you are kind of left here on the ship. Jasira, you've been kind of hanging out. Is there anything that you've been doing while they've been investigating the Red Ruin?
Just help them with the medicines. Because we can't exactly loot our ship, and if everyone else went over there, she would just probably try to help those that are up.
Okay.
Maybe take a breather herself because she got pretty wrecked.
Yep.
I would say before we left, like, the ship itself, like, we would have told the captain about the dragon and stuff, but before we blow everything sky high, can I ask Roland for just some help looking around the captain's quarters just to see if we can find any, like, correspondence or letters, anything that might give us extra info?
Sure.
That's a good call. I got a little blinded by gold.
When does that ever happen?
I did used to be a pirate, after all. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll go digging.
All right, so you head back into that room with the throne and kind of see the ladder heading up, and you begin to climb upwards into the higher levels of this ship. And up here, you can immediately find a bed that is in this small kind of cabin-like space, and perhaps not so much to your surprise anymore. But this bed does not appear to be made of normal materials, and does indeed appear to be made of things that are harvested. And up at the...
Does it have a Derthax shaped grease stain on it.
Maybe like an indentation. But the headboard itself is actually made of kind of these long curled horns that kind of come out, and they're hefty in size. Like they each are half of this headboard from this bed, and there are these long bones that kind of protrude out the bottom for the footboard, and there is a large skull up on the wall and some braziers that are kind of burned low at this point, just giving off a little bit of light, and along the edge there's kind of these gnarled bone claws that are kind of making a makeshift rail, though there's not really anything in the space between them.
All right. So
I'm seriously questioning this guy's decoration taste.
I mean, at least he picked a theme and went with it. There are worse. He could use antlers in all of his decorating.
At least he's consistent. Wait. How dare you?
He's from Texas. He probably sees it all the time.
Boko's ears immediately start burning.
But yeah, no, at this point, Boko is... jeez, mother.
Boko is.
Roland is going to lift the eye patch and activate X-ray vision again. And as his clouded over eye flashes with light and additional vision to be able to look for hidden containers.
Looking throughout this chamber, for the most part, it's fairly bare. However, you do find in kind of the corner of this, not even a room, but this level of this like half broken, not even like an attic, but this loft, underneath the bed, you do find this small box that kind of appears on your vision.
Okay. I will go digging for it.
Yeah,
Try and get to it.
You come around and pull it out, and it's this heavy box. It's like a thick, dark colored metal, and it's heavy to lift, even though it's relatively small. And on kind of lifting it up, there's a small keyhole on the front.
Be careful of that. If it's important enough to be in a captain's quarters, then it might be trapped.
Should we take it back to the Pride and deal with it later? Or should I...
Maybe we put it on deck and take care of it, but not on the Pride, in case it blows up or something.
So what you're saying is you want to be 30 feet away when I pick this lock?
Probably.
Okay, fair enough. And he'll kind of over to the side with it and then keep digging through the room for like a desk, a satchel of like anything else.
Find any correspondence, maps?
There is no desk, no real notes in here. There's one wooden chest that you kind of lift up and has some clothes in it. And Roland kind of looking through, you do see that it has a false bottom, and kind of lifting it up, there is some not like what I guess would be considered jewelry, but more of the macabre variety. Again, made of bone, made of natural materials, just kind of tucked underneath. But no correspondence, no letters or parchment.
So 3 things. A, Boko will love the jewelry. B, I would love to have, if there's any distinguishing features on them, a set of Derthax's clothing. Or if it's just normal linen shirt, canvas trousers, like then.
I mean,
there
are some of that, all in like dark blacks and reds and purples. But there is also a couple of those long pirate coats that he wears that have the large arm cuffs. Not necessarily distinct to him per se, but certainly a common fashion for some of the more senior officers throughout the pirates.
Yeah, I'll take them.
Okay.
Always good for disguise stuff. And then thirdly, aside from Boko loving the jewelry, if it's important enough to put in a false bottom, is probably important enough to take a closer look at. So, I'll take it.
Okay.
Were there like
List of cursed items. He's like, yep, they took that one and that one and that one.
Yep, probably. And we're going to give them all to you.
in that first room where like Sindri and Clyde disappeared? Were there like any desks or papers in there?
There were desks. You did see some papers. They looked mostly like maps and charts.
I will, once we're done searching the captain's quarters, I'll kind of head back there with Roland and just see if there's anything of importance that we might find.
Okay. Yeah.
Or just that might be helpful.
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
Alrighty.
Okay. Is it an advantage if Roland's helping me?
Sure.
Or do you want me to make it with you helping me?
Do that.
I will also cast guidance on myself. So I've already applied the level up, so remove 2 from this number.
Okay.
So only 25.
Only 25. Yeah, looking across, you actually see some really good maps of the Lazar principalities. They pretty much only cover the Lazar territories, so you miss kind of the bottom portion, Roland, that you know is there, but otherwise they're in pretty good detail. You see a couple markings around them that kind of denote the various zones for the King's Cut, the Bloody Bay, the different types of areas that the pirates have, and kind of the territories marked off. You also see a few different ports that are highlighted. Port Krez is on there. You also see a Port Verge, further to the north of Port Cairn, a few others along the continental portion that are all marked.
Okay.
Ooh, these are nice maps.
Very.
If we're going to be on the sea a little longer, I wouldn't mind carrying around an upgraded map or two.
Same.
Yeah, we'll just kind of like roll those up and like tuck them away.
Okay, sure.
Although being on the sea for much longer may not be advisable.
You do realize, oh god, I don't even know. Clyde and Sindri are gone. You realize that, yes?
They're gone.
Yes. Don't know what the fuck happened. Apparently they ran after someone in here, and now they are elsewhere. I tried to talk to Sindri earlier, but he was more than mildly distracted and didn't really give me a good location of where they were, besides they were near water again.
Oh, well, that narrows things down.
Exactly. I'm going to try Clyde tomorrow.
They
But
chased
they
Yves.
What?
They chased Yves in here. And what do you mean gone? Was there a portal in here that I missed?
Apparently, the captain just said that they had gone elsewhere, but that one of hers had a sending stone, so he would likely be checking in soon. Like I said, tried Sindri, he wasn't very helpful though. But, alive as of an hour ago?
See, Sindri charging headlong into a situation that he can't understand. That I get. But Clyde?
Well, Sindri went after Clyde because Sindri was on the ship with me, and then he went to go find Clyde. So apparently, whatever it is, it was Clyde that did it.
If he lives through this, I'm going to kill him.
But for now, I don't know where they went. So, on top of all of this shit show, we now have 2 missing people of, I don't know, questionable that they should be by themselves. I mean, I guess Clyde's been taking care of himself for a while now, but I don't know.
Depends on your definition of taking care.
He is missing quite a few teeth.
Damn. Crossfire.
Oh, I can't even respond. Damn.
I don't know. I can try and I can either send a message and try and talk to them tomorrow, or I can try and observe them tomorrow.
Up to you. That is your area of expertise.
Fucking idiots is what they are.
No argument there.
Oh yeah, so on top of all of this shit show, we have party members missing now, and oh jeez, please, I'm getting a headache.
Let's get this up on deck. I'll open the lock, and you told Boko that you still had a little bit left?
Yes, why?
Just in case.
Fair enough, just in case.
But yeah, we'll pull all the papers back, get them to the Pride, and then I'll have the lead box out in the center of the deck with.
Wait, it's made of
watching
lead?
from a safe distance. Do what?
It's made of lead?
Looks like
I
it.
assume a dark, heavy metal that my X-ray vision couldn't see through.
And you licked it, and it was slightly sweet.
I must have missed that, but you guys called me sketchy.
So running for me.
Oh no, it's out. For
Oh, now I lost
After
it.
the very close experience with multiple dragon teeth, Boko realized his luck is probably running thin.
You don't want more dragon teeth from the figurehead?
I want to live.
There's more to do.
How
if
badly?
I can only live.
I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. But yeah, investigating for traps, guidance.
Yep, go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand check.
For checking for traps?
Sorry, investigation for that.
Okay.
I'll be.
Okay, so again, knocked 2 off, so only 23.
Yeah. You don't see any sign of traps on this. Just the lock.
Okay. I don't have detect magic prepared, so let's pick the lock.
Okay. That'll be the sleight of hand.
Yep. And take 1 off of that.
Okay.
So 21.
21 as you
Because I'm not expertise in sleight of hand.
work through the lock here, kind of fiddling with the pieces. You eventually hear a click and the lock is open.
I check for trap, and as I'm lifting it, if like just get in there and like feel around for a wire.
You
as
can
it cracks
certainly
open.
try.
Slide the tip of the dagger in.
Just nope, not trapped. Open.
Yeah, you give it a look and there doesn't seem to be any sign of traps on this thing.
No, popped in my face, so I'm just going to close the box, and I will deal with that when I'm well rested.
What was in there?
Something magical. I don't want to deal with it right now. It
Like
was
happy sparkle magical, or dark sinister eat your soul magical?
Roland is just going to turn, look around at the ship, and gesture.
I kind of figured, but you know, maybe a pleasant surprise. Maybe he liked unicorns and rainbows in his secret private time.
Fair. We'll deal with it tomorrow.
Deal with it tomorrow? You want to bring that thing on the Pride? The dark, nasty, whatever magical thingy.
Fine, I'll identify it here. Open the box again.
Just stands there, just.
Somewhere in the back of your mind, you hear Boko's voice. Touch it. Touch it.
That's what that
farther
was.
behind and Clyde, lick it.
That was a quick touch and see if anything bad happens.
Yeah, Cade's gotten like a little bit closer and is like trying to like look from a distance. Actually, no. Cade, ooh, fuck that. No, never mind. Cade's gonna tell Roland to open up the box real quick.
Oh, it's already open
Yeah.
and he's already like getting ready to.
Before
No, wait.
Eh.
Wait, don't touch it.
Before Cade is able to get over there, Roland has kind of put his finger on it, and Roland, in this moment, the areas around seem to shift as this black orb just pulses up and becomes this flat circular, not necessarily a sphere, but almost like a mirror, this large circle, and you look around and everything else seems paused in motion.
Oh shit.
Did you just cast time stop?
Cade, you do not notice this, as you are paused as well. Only Roland sees this.
Oh no.
I hope you know how to press play, otherwise this is where the game ends.
It's just like boop.
What are you doing, Roland?
It looks like a mirror, you said?
More or less.
Am I in a different place or am I still on the deck of the ship and it's just like pulled up and hovered?
You are in the same place. It is just pulled up and hovered. It's like this. It's like looking into a circular black piece of glass with just these shadows coming off the edge.
You weren't supposed to do that quickly. Can you go back?
Is that what you want?
Oh. You're just so nice.
It's been a while since I've heard that language.
Yes, that's what I want. Please, back in the box. I'll deal with this later.
As you wish. It goes back to a small sphere. And everyone is walking around normally. Cade, you comes up to you. Wait, before you touch it.
Yes, before I touch it. What is it?
I was just gonna say that I could try and observe it with my magical scope before you touch strange, bad things.
Yes, that is a very good idea. It's a good thing I didn't touch it. You'll open up the box.
Insight check. People don't generally repeat themselves.
I am proficient in deception. So with a natural 20.
No way.
Roland, I'll let you give her whatever she gets off of that. Whatever you think is appropriate.
Oh, that's a tie, because you wouldn't have guidanced yourself to lie right in front of me.
But this is Roland we're
I
talking
had already
about.
cast.
Is guidance
I was perpetually
one?
It's one, but I was
Okay.
perpetually casting guidance for every check.
You look over and Roland's like,
Yeah.
please, oh god, please, please.
He knows what guidance looks. If you were
Regardless.
actually lying in front of her, it's guided for yourself.
Regardless
I
of
would
the
have
check.
cast guidance to check for traps, and I would have, after checking for traps, cast guidance again, opened the box, cast guidance again. Like, he was casting
Yep.
guidance every 5 seconds.
Regardless, with a check
And
that
it
close, it is up to Roland on what
Yeah.
indication is provided here.
Exactly what made you roll the insight check. Like, it's pretty well dead even. Like, something was fishy, but you didn't see him touch it.
Okay.
Narrowed eyes.
Cade, like, you see her pause and give you a very, like, discerning look. But she pulls out the spyglass and points it towards the orb. And doesn't say anything further to Roland.
Does a 5 do?
You can ask the spyglass 3 questions about the target, and it will try to answer them as best as the magic can, but it can only answer a question with an affirmative yes or no response.
What the fuck is this? Yes.
Yes or no.
Even more concerning. No.
No.
Yeah, you see Cade pull this out, and it expands out, and like you see like a few like things kind of twist on it, and like Cade adjusts a few things, and then kind of like seemingly just starts asking questions. Is this object likely to bring the user harm?
Cade, as you call out this question, it's not a typically you feel the breeze of the sea or the blow of the wind or a certain smell.
Please have it talk to her.
You hear the words of this feminine voice whisper into your ear. Well, it depends on how you use it.
Oh, fuck. Okay, just to clarify, Cade has never heard anyone talk to her before when using this, right?
Absolutely not. And it's always been just the impression of an affirmative or a negative.
Oh, okay. Cade runs over and slams the lid shut.
What happened?
That responded. Things should not respond.
I mean, it depends on the thing.
No, absolutely not. This, and I'll hold up the fire, is just, it gives info, but it's feeling. It's like nature responds to my questions. Someone responded, and I definitely not this, it was that, and I'm like pointing at the thing that's like.
So what you're saying is you shouldn't touch it.
No. Nope. I was always. I'm with objects of Jesus. Don't turn in. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about that.
I mean, I don't have a good feeling about it either, but I don't know if the feeling is worse about having it with me or having it on the bottom of the ocean for any random person to find.
Come now, you know as well as I do that finding something on the bottom of the ocean is not exactly easy.
It might be a bit easier if it's sitting on top of a ship that you're looking for.
I don't know. I just know that on a ship filled with bloodthirsty, psychopathic killers, hiding underneath the worst bloodthirsty psychopathic killer on board's beds in a lead box, and it's hooked to you. It's probably not anything we want to keep with us. And you see Cade's just like, you know, my life was like pretty straightforward before you guys fucking crashed out of the sky. I swear, all of you are just bad luck.
That much may be true.
I don't know.
I've been hanging out with Boko for too long. This is exactly the sort of thing that we definitely shouldn't touch. But the things that you shouldn't touch are also the things that most need to be investigated.
Yeah, well, whatever that thing is, it talks.
And things that talk can generally be reasoned with.
It's an inanimate object that talks. Obviously, there's some intelligence imbued in it.
Or it's a very fancy sending stone.
Cade's gonna, like, give you a look in a lead box. On the bed room.
Else can send through it. Yeah. It's bad. It is bad. It is also an edge. It's an answer.
Oh, it's a million more questions.
And if 1,000,000 more questions give us 500,000 more answers, then we have 500,000 answers that we never had before.
Well, it does something to our minds, completely corrupts us, and then we lose all control.
So we just give it to Boko. He already has all of the other curse stuff. Why not give him this?
Boko's
Love
ear
it.
starts burning again.
Because he's irresponsible.
He did
Okay.
use a rope this time.
Okay,
Baby
you're right.
steps.
We shouldn't give it to Boko. I should keep it. I don't think it should stay on this ship at the bottom of the ocean for the first person who's able to locate this ship using magic to come along and recover.
Conversely, someone uses it to track us down when we're already trying to get away.
Okay. Austin,
Mhm.
with Roland's intelligence and book learning and all that stuff, he would know that this is a lead box and what lead does to magic, right?
That's pretty widely known.
Okay.
Okay.
It's in a lead box. No one can track it while it's in the box.
While it's in the box, you just opened it.
Yes, on the deck of the Red Ruin. I keep the box shut. We keep it locked away. And I don't open it again until I'm in a lead-lined room.
Yes, because those are a dime a dozen.
We just need to get to an actual city. There was one in the tower where I used to work.
That's true.
You worked in a very questionable place.
I worked in a temple of Anatar.
And yet, no rope.
It's not that kind of temple.
Anyone who wants to study things and learn how they work, who deals with magic, has lead.
At this point, Iz kind of comes over to you guys. Listen, you all might want to get off. I think we're going to blow this thing to smithereens here shortly.
Yes, we should definitely get off of the ship, and this is coming with me. And he's going to pick up the lead box and walk.
All right. everybody off, and he kind of begins moving over, and they've at this point have piled up quite a few of those barrels on this deck that are visible as everyone kind of migrates off towards the Pride, looking across the short distance. Anybody want to do the honors?
Uncontrollable fire isn't really my thing.
You got a spell, or you want a torch, or you want a fire arrow? What's your choice, Boko?
I do not know. I've never done this before. What works the best?
Fire.
I would like one fire, please.
He hands you a torch.
Can I just yeet this thing onto the deck of the Red Ruin?
Yeah, give me an athletics check.
Great, this is going to be amazing. Boko immediately spikes it into the deck of the Pride.
Yeah, throw it right on the Pride.
Whoa,
Come
that's
on.
not bad.
Luckily, this
nice.
is not a very high DC. 10 was what you needed, but it was...
Oh my god.
It was
Boko
close.
chucks it, and it kind of like sputters a couple, but rolls just far enough to light it. Just
Everybody leans forward.
and the barrels go up, and it seems like there's some further in, and the hole just kind of shudders and cracks, and slowly begins to kind of sink in, lilts and tips further down into the water.
Boko looks at
That
his.
was a lot of gold.
That was fun.
Always is. You hang around us, I'm sure you get to do it again.
Boko smiles. That's creepy.
So Boko is Boko.
Boko will also turn to Cade and say, Cade, I think we should probably denote this particular place in the ocean, just in case it is pertinent for us to return here for any reason.
Yeah, I can do that.
Cade, give me we'll say a survival check with proficiency if you don't happen to have proficiency on that.
Just a second.
Assist her with that. I am also proficient in survival. I don't know if it translates to water survival, though.
Yeah, I don't think it would in this instance.
Who's worth a shot?
Proficient in the sea vehicles.
But yeah, I'll allow Roland to assist in this. You can roll it at an advantage.
I mean, yeah, Cade would it'd be like a navigator's tools
yeah,
check, I think.
yes, that's
Yeah.
that's a better option. I always forget what all
Yeah,
the different tools are.
I also had proficiency in survival until you told me that there was a proficiency in sea vehicles. I went, that's what I was going for.
Okay, yeah, Cade just kind of like pulls out the map and has Roland like point at something over her shoulder. Okay, 1d20 plus if I'm proficient. Okay, so it'd be plus 7. Okay. Ooh, did not roll well.
With
Oh wait,
guidance.
if Roland's helping, it's an advantage.
It is.
And with guidance.
Oh, yeah.
I cast guidance perpetually. He's just always walking around going,
Thanks, Shart.
Okay, and then 1d4. 18. Not bad.
Okay.
Probably enough to mark it on a map.
Yeah, so you do the best you can to mark down the location where this ship has gone down. And the captain kind of comes over to you all, and you can see all of the other sailors are in the process of kind of putting forth these small little rafts and wrapping the various bodies and attaching them to these rafts. We are sending out our dead back to the sea, and then we will be going to this meeting place. It will likely take the rest of the day. I have heard from Corbin. He, Sindri, and Clyde are safe, and they are in Port Verge, on the northern side of the Principalities. Once we have our discussion with the Tritons, we can look into perhaps reacquiring them some way. But we must get there first.
Thank you for the update. As I thought, your fellow is much more reliable at conveying information than Sindri.
Just so you are aware, though I am perhaps more for your companions, Port Verge is over 2 weeks' journey by boat. They are quite a ways away. I'm not sure how soon we will be able to get to them.
Understood.
We will talk more this evening. And she goes back into the cabin, and the other sailors begin to push off these bodies. The first one being for Miss Lorster. The next one, Zolo Driftiron, Thudgar the Wild Pig, Ruby Kirkman, Viter, Ezra, and others all pushed off into the sea.
So many lost teeth.
Tiff just standing beside you. I know,
It
right?
was almost on one of these boats.
Very nearly.
It was so close.
Very, very nearly a couple of times.
And I probably should have been on one of these boats if it wasn't for Zolo, so...
But you all take this moment to realize the danger that had passed, and despite the maybe half dozen or so individuals that did not survive it, most of the crew is intact and still capable of sailing. And so after they've kind of moved the mast back onto the Pride and begin to set off away from the remnants of the Red Ruin, which are slowly sinking down, the last bits of the red sails falling beneath the surface, you all have a few hours before you reach this spot. And actually, I'll pull it up on your new map of the principalities.
We have 8 of these several hours.
Oh, look at this.
It's probably closer to about 5 or 6.
Damn it.
Yeah, not quite the full 8 hours that remain. Though it should, theoretically, be safe is what they have told you. Though none of this was expected in the first place. They say that they are headed to a small island off the coast of Lorgollen here. And currently you guys are right about here. Maybe a little bit closer down. But it'll be a few hours to make it to that small island. And if you can see on here, Port Verge is up on the island of Questor, far, far to the north, which is where they
Nearly
have
to
said,
the Northern Circle.
Mhm.
Hey, you can go back to the Dreadhole and say hi.
It is north of Dreadhold, even.
If we pass by, we should all stand on the deck and go like this. Immediately take cannon fire.
But in these few hours, is there anything that you all would like to do before you make landfall?
I will identify every single thing that Boko took out of the
It
hole.
probably gets to the point where Boko and Roland are just sitting next to each other, and Boko hands something to Roland, and Roland just goes, "Another one?" Like, fuck.
All the rings.
Boko hands him the voodoo doll, and he's just like,
Just a pair of tweezers. Just
Yep. I will do a 10% inventory of the gold coins.
All right. So we don't spend too much time on that in this session. I'll cover that offline in between this week.
All right.
And the next time we play. But is there anything? So that'll probably take pretty much all of Roland and Boko's time. Is there
Yes.
anything that anyone else is doing? Cade, Thashalt, or Jasira?
Well, I guess I would probably work on upgrades actually, because I need to build another canister, as well as do a couple modifications to the mech now.
Okay.
So just thematic level up stuff.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Jasira?
I'm thinking that it's been a while, but it's kind of like
Been a while.
it's kind of like a calming familiar habit, she's actually going to start, or I guess continue, because it's been a bit. She's going to continue crafting a new piece of jewelry. So, with her jeweler's kit.
What are you crafting this time? Bracelet,
she is
ring,
working
necklace?
on a bracelet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Cade?
It is just like found a isolated like perch just kind of out of the way and is just like kicked back and just kind of listening to the sea for a while. She might pull out a book for a little bit of time, but just going through just like a calming like cool down kind of after battle and like death and chaos and everything.
Absolutely. And eventually, as the hours go by, you all do finally make it to this small island. And waiting for you there is a beautiful tropical landscape. And these bright beaches, large palm trees. The island itself is very, very small. Still a few ships wide, but kind of a not something that would typically be marked on most maps due to its size. And many of the captain and many of the officers who are still there, outside of Valaris, who stays on the ship, begin to get in rowboats and begin to head towards the shore. Are you all going with the shore party, or are you staying aboard on the deck to continue to rest?
Jade would automatically go with whatever boat had the princess in it.
Okay. Yeah, there's two of them that are going to shore, and one of them does have her enemy in it. It's the same one that has Captain Morannon.
I think Boko probably would as well, seeing as Corwin is not here.
Jasira would tag along, but not necessarily in the same boat as the princess. She'll just go where the majority of the group is.
Okay.
Roland is going to go down and keep an eye on the Bloodbane. Was that the one that we captured?
Mm-hmm.
Or the... Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's just going to be in... Zolo is one of the ones who died, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to be in Zolo's chair, rifle draped over his arm after all of the identifying with Boko. And he'll just be down there kind of sitting, waiting, watching.
And you see down there as well, kind of sitting up against the wall, is the large blue form of Magnus. Still with many cuts, scrapes, and bruises, multiple things bandaged and put up. Still an imposing figure, but certainly...
Still able to rip someone's spine out via their skull.
Certainly more somber than you have ever seen them before.
Yeah, no, he'll head down there, see Magnus, give him a brief nod, and sit down and check the rifle and settle into guard duty.
Okay. The other three of you on the rowboat begin to head towards this island. And it is quite beautiful. It's serene in this way. And for once it feels like you're very, very far away from all of the chaos that had just happened. And as you step onto this white beach, kind of looking out at the opened landscape in front of here, you can see why this was chosen. It's fairly clear and open. You can see from one side of the island to the other through the sparse trees. And there's very little cover for any type of ambush or attack. But you look around and you don't see any other entities. You don't see any other ships. There doesn't seem to be anyone else here.
I expect they'll be approaching from the waterline. I hope.
Is there anything any of you guys are doing in preparation?
Vibe check?
Sure, give me an insight check.
Vibes are fine.
It's a quiet group. Iz is even over here in the other boat and hasn't said
Oh, is it
much.
a quiet group then?
That's the insight at even a 9 that you get, is that even with Iz in the boat, he's not completely quiet. But the chatter is not loud and boisterous like it normally is. It's a few comments here and there. And once you hit the land, that sort of shifts a little bit as everybody's kind of waiting and watching, and is kind of making snide comments about how they're late and we shouldn't be expected away.
Yeah, Cade's just gonna like kind of be sitting like off to the side, watching the water, because again, that's where she, like Boko said, that's where she expects people to come from. She might like kind of like if there's like any like simple creatures nearby, she might just like say hello to them and like quietly just converse with the nature around.
Yeah, there are a few like seabirds here, some small creatures and insects, basic wildlife, not many things, but a few. And you occasionally see a sea turtle kind of pop its head up nearby in the water.
I'll say hello to the sea turtles and convey my greetings, because I can totally do that.
Wholesome as fuck, by the way.
And as you're watching the water does start to rise and start to part as these large, almost dolphin-like creatures, but slightly larger than that, begin to rise up to the surface. And riding on their back, you see these fish-like individuals with scales and these gills, webbed fingers and toes, but they still wear this like coral-like armor and these helmets, weapons, as they come and ride up and begin to take their post as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them all kind of form this row. And from out behind them, this large ray kind of lifts up like a platform. And you see these 2 individuals standing upon it. As it slowly moves forward, they kind of step off the ray right into the shallow water and begin to move up this procession.
So legit.
And seeing these 2 individuals, the first one who kind of approaches first has kind of this cloak behind them, and their face kind of is wide and extends out, almost like a hammerhead shark in certain ways, but not aggressively. Still humanoid features across the face, their eyes facing forward, but their gills kind of pulse along their side. You can see that they are dressed more... There's a certain air of wealth and nobility that is expressed from this individual as they step forward. Their long ridges across the forehead kind of pulse as well, and the sides of their face are this bright orange. Though the figure behind them perhaps draws even more attention. Kind of stepping behind, just a couple steps behind the first individual, you see someone who is elegantly dressed with this long golden staff. They almost have hair that is kind of kept short against their head, and that same blue skin tone that you see on Arinami, but the gold bands across their arm and this bright green armor that is all across their body, and this like purple, almost like a battle skirt type way around them both. And as the first individual with the wide head kind of steps forward, "Hello, my name is Dorlis. You all are the pride, yes. You have brought our enemy, as you had said, and we appreciate the transparency. I represent the Sulazath family, and we are here to negotiate, yes." The captain, as well as Israel and some others, nod and they kind of begin to take a step off to the side. And at the same time, Arenemy kind of steps up and begins to embrace this other figure with the golden staff as they kind of both hug and smile. And she kind of turns to the rest of you. Well, you all, thank you for your assistance. This is my brother, Saren.
Boko will give him a deep nod out of respect.
Our enemy has been discussing with us. She said that you ran into a bit of complications. I thank you for helping to keep my sister and our people safe. It goes a long way in showing goodwill.
We made a promise, and had every intention of keeping it.
The man, this individual, this Triton individual, smiles for a moment as he looks upon you, Cade. You are a water genasi. It's been a while since I've seen one of your kind.
You don't seem to come up very often.
It is quite magnificent to see the form of the ocean personified in such a way. I'm glad that you all could accompany us here today. I hope that if what our enemy has said, we are able to take a unified action and ensure the safety of all of our people. Dorlis speaks for my father, but I am here on my own accord, and to ensure the safety of my sister back home. We will talk, but it is good to meet you all. And both Saren and Arenemy kind of step forward to go and join the others in the discussion, leaving you off to the side. And there's just this row of about 10 other individuals that are just standing stock still.
Are they all heavily armed?
Yes, heavily armed and armored.
It's just the leaders have gone off to negotiate, and the guards on both sides are just standing in rows looking at each other going...
Except I imagine all of us are looking beat to shit.
Yes.
You guys have had some time for short rests, so you're not quite as bad, but certainly not looking good.
That would be helpful had we not spent some of our hit dice in that battle. What I neglected to tell you guys as I ventured into the depths of the Red Ruin was I have 3 hit points. I figured that information may have changed your mind.
Boko always looks a little rough.
Actually on the edge of death instead of just looking like the edge of death.
Yeah, I mean, Cade just looks tired, but no worse for wear than normal. Just tired.
Don't worry, Jasira only has 4.
Despite wobbling ferociously, hardly being able to keep his feet, Boko is trying his best to channel Corwin energy.
Boko, Cade's gonna offset. Are you okay?
Boko looks directly into Cade's eyes and goes, "No."
Then why are you here? Why aren't you resting on the boat?
Boko looks at Cade and goes, "I've died plenty of times before, trust me."
Okay.
He just flashes her a small, awkward smile.
You know, you're not supposed to die multiple times, right?
Says who?
The order of nature.
Have you ever died before?
No.
So you do not know what you are talking about.
I think I have a fair bit of knowledge about what what nature has intended. and coming back repeatedly is not it.
Boko just ponders.
There's a little tone in that.
I imagine Boko is trying to speak matter-of-factly, but it's coming out very awkward and condescending.
You imagine?
Yes.
Truly, you have a vivid imagination.
And you guys wait and watch for a little while, and the conversation takes 20, maybe 30 minutes before eventually Saren, Arinami, and Captain Morannon kind of come the way of you. You 5? Yeah, 5. Sorry, I couldn't count there for a second. And as they, or no, 4. Sorry, because Roland's on the boat.
Yeah.
And 2 of our people are dead.
Well, I took that into account. The other 3 the other 3 individuals come up to the 4 of you who are there, and Arenemy kind of speaks up first. So the captain tells me that you all, some of your crew members, went through a portal and are now at Port Verge. I owe you all a life debt for what you did for me, fighting a Kraken and not to mention an entire pirate crew. I would like to help you all get to your friend. We have some control over sea creatures, and we could help either take you all there directly or help guide a boat there faster. And
sounds like kind of a waste of a life debt. Don't we want to burn that on something useful?
And Saren kind of raises a hand. I know, Saren, that you have things to say, but these individuals do. Well, they helped save me, and now their friends are in danger. And I would like to offer my aid if they should so take it and desire it. Port Verge, it's a long way off, and it's the source of where these sea dragons are coming from, and the poisoning that is going into the waters. Saren, if you can rally the army and come and support us there, we can take out the operations, and having some advanced scouts who could take a lay of the land would probably help provide information. And I'm not a little girl anymore. Saren kind of rolls his eyes. Oh, I've long since learned that I can't talk you out of anything. And he kind of looks back at the group of you. What say you? Would you like to have my sister help assist you in reclaiming your lost companions?
Yeah. To be quite frank, I don't trust those 2 not to get into significant amount of trouble in a very short amount of time. And if it truly is the source of the current problem on the seas, then I have a sinking feeling that trouble will find them sooner rather than later.
Very well. Well, if it is to be that she is accompanying you, I cannot have her go alone. And he kind of looks over. Corum, look. And gives a motion of his hands, and 2 of the armored individuals kind of step forward. And removing their helms, you see 2 Triton armored individuals who kind of stand. You 2 will go as guards for our enemy, making sure that she is safe and helping out with these individuals where you can. And Adam, if you'd like to describe your character.
Oh, absolutely. You see a slightly, or a taller than average Triton, taller than even the muscular Tritons you see here. And he's in full mithril plate with electricity that slowly trickles down it. He has a buckler and a trident in one hand, and strewn across his back is what appears to be a massive trident, but I'm using the Zweihander stat block for it.
Nice.
Don't worry too much, Saren. While me and my brother live, princess will come no harm.
He sounds just like Clyde.
Yeah, we'll work on that. I've had one day. We'll work on it.
Adam's got one boy.
This individual who sounds vaguely like Clyde.
It's actually Clyde. He got teleported to their ship, and he's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go with it.
You like moonshine, Mr. Triton.
Nah, I don't drink.
It is not Clyde.
I would expect nothing less from the two of you. You will go, and you will make sure that this happens, and that our enemy is returned safely after the battle. I bid you all the best of luck. We will begin traveling back to Tempest Isle, ensuring that this message is sent out to all of our people and to our father. Stay safe, little sister. And as the two of them kind of embrace again, for Boko and for Cade, you can pick up, it's about dusk now as the sun is kind of set and is evening, and you kind of notice that there's something going on with Jasira, where she is having some sort of reaction to this encounter and is kind of turned away in response. But the two Tritons kind of go their separate ways. The two nobles kind of going back onto the large ray that descends down into the water. The other armored individuals all getting upon their steeds and riding back into the water. For the two Triton brothers that stay, they bring their... they go and kind of stand by their mounts, and the captain kind of looks at you all. The Pride will take some time to repair. They have offered you all to have an experience of Triton steeds if you would like to go ahead and begin your journey. After some rest, of course, but we will likely be here for a few days. If you would like the Pride to go on the Pride, we can try and make some speed, but the fastest way would be to go by yourselves. But I understand if, and would perhaps recommend waiting for backup. But I do understand if you have a need. Corwin can take care of himself and your companions for some time, but it is your choice.
Oh, look at our enemy. And he just asks her, this journey, you speak of these ports as if it is very dangerous. Is that true?
The ports themselves, they're highly guarded and highly protected. Port Verge is, well, it's like a fort. They have cannons like a ship. They have many guards. More pirates or enforcers than actual guards, but no less dangerous. And I believe it is where most, if not all, of the sea dragons are made, and so there are likely to be some being built and perhaps some that are even already finished.
Then I think we should wait for the backup, because I imagine our deal with the Triton people will go fairly poorly if we get you killed in this journey.
I don't know if that's necessarily right, Boko. Port Verge is massive, and to be quite frank, the Pride can't take it. It might be in our best interest to go in small.
This is true, but we can always infiltrate from the safety of the Pride. We cannot always have backup waiting just beyond the waters.
Even when the Pride comes, we will be going in small. We will let the Tritons lead the full assault. Our ship will be somewhat helpful, but from what I have heard, the sea is little match for the sea dragons if they have any that are operational. It will be there mostly for cleanup. What our job will be is to get onto the ground, disrupt our operations, and see what damage we can do from there. We'll also perhaps be able to meet up with the Storm Fae.
Then
Boko
we could
looks
be an advanced team, Boko.
Yeah.
Find
Boko
Sindri,
looks at
find Clyde.
Or Boko looks at Cade and he says, "Fine, I did say that when it comes to matters of the sea, I would trust your judgment. And so I will."
For your information, Cade, I did recommend to Corwin that if they could, they should get out of the city and head north to try and meet up with the Storm Fae and the Tamargons.
Understood. I have ways of keeping in contact with them myself, so I'll check in daily with them and get progress reports.
I'll defer to Cade, whatever she wants to do.
Princess, I think we'll take you up on your offer and travel ahead. I think it's best if we get some rest and then make haste towards Port Burge.
Very well. Then I will call for your transport while we all rest here.
Just to be clear, in the morning, I very much think that we need sleep.
Yes, it will take some time for the transport to arrive.
And yeah, when I say in the morning very hastily, I'm looking at like mostly dead Boko and the slightly concerning Jasira off to the side.
We're all wondering if we should leave Roland behind.
It's fine, he'll just come with the backup.
Hashtag mostly dead Boko. That's gonna get a lot of use.
Okay, so I guess, are we heading back to the ship for the night, or are we resting on land?
It's your choice.
I think we should head back to the ship. We can pick.
Yes. Yeah, we'll say Boko said that person, so character. Yes, perhaps that's best.
The tone of, well, we gotta invite Jerry. Yeah, I guess we have to invite Jerry.
So I guess we're gonna head back to ship for the night.
All right. You all make your way back to the ship, and these new Triton individuals accompanying Princess or enemy as well. They have their dolphin-like steeds that they ride back up to the ship and then use the ladders to climb on board. And now being able to see them properly, in addition to Coram, there's also his brother. And Nicholas, are you with us? Are you able to describe your character?
Yes. We have a sword, long sword, back to his back. Wearing just that reminds you to see at night. Just wearing a full body armor. He has not taken his helmet off. And it's just kind of been standing there. Yeah.
Coram does have two bandoliers across his chest that have 6 balls, 3 on each bandolier.
And I have just not decided what weapon he's going to use. So.
That's fine. No.
So he has all of them.
Character design started yesterday, and it's been a long day trying to go through the starter character design stuff.
Lots of fun.
So many feats.
But yeah, the two of them stay pretty close to Arenemi's side as they're making their way through. The rest of you have the evening if there's anything else that you would like to do. Otherwise, we will get to the departure the next day.
To Jasira.
Oh, yeah. I more than I look at Jasira and we kind of look at each other, nod, and we walk towards Jasira.
All right, so you guys.
Go back in the boat.
Yeah. This on the
Yeah, it's easy enough to find some time with Jasira.
how are you?
Well,
Oh, hold on 1 second. My audio is getting real jacked up. Okay, let's try that. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
yeah.
There we go. Okay, sorry. I don't know what was happening with my audio there. Anyway, you guys are able to find Jasira on the ship.
Well,
You know that there's a long way between being okay and not dead, right?
Sure, but being alive means you can fight another day.
We don't know. We don't know if she's dead. I could try and contact her tomorrow if you'd like.
What? Oh. No, whatever the fate, it's what happened. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Cove is not a core presence in my thoughts right now.
And it's like, okay, got another one of these weirdos, and she's gonna kind of like nudge Boko of maybe it can be like a weirdo to weirdo talk.
Can you translate to her?
Yeah, Boko was mostly watching. Boko's a little less tactful than Cade, I would assume.
Probably.
But Boko has spent the first part of this conversation being quite on purpose. He's more of looking at Jasira as a whole and seeing if there's something off about her. Does anything show up on his creep radar?
I wouldn't think so.
I heard something get rolled.
It was a comment.
Okay,
Are you
okay.
sad because your friend's probably dead?
I don't know. Boko's just going to make an assumption then. He looks at Jasira and he says, "These power that you wield, the power to take and consume souls, to channel them through you, is there something you're not telling us? Does it take a toll upon you, spiritually or otherwise?"
Not really. I get a little fatigued to the point I cannot do it without proper resting. So, no more expending one soul a day. But
Jasira, you are not yourself, though. It is something of a concern for myself and for Cade.
do you have siblings?
Boko looks at Cade. He's not good at this stuff. We're tagging in and out of it.
only child here. Well, I mean, in the sense that my mother only gave birth to one individual, but I had family and people that I would call, even though they're not of blood, my family.
My family is not very loving. My culture is not very loving. I am merely a replacement for what should have been. And I am missing the only sibling I ever had.
I see. And
This is back on the boat, isn't it?
yeah, we're on the boat at the point. When's the last? I take it you're not talking about.
Soon was even out of my bar.
Sorry, my audio went weird again. What was the question?
Basically, how long has it been since Jasira saw him? Like, how long was that event from the time that she left Mabar and eventually got onto that
Yeah, so
plantation?
it's been about a few months that you were on the plantation. And it was probably roughly akin to a few months before that, since you had last seen him. So maybe roughly a year, give or take.
Well, when you know someone for 101 years of your life, the next couple months seem pretty long, comparatively.
I suppose that makes sense. I can't say that I'm over a century old. Still pretty young here, but I know what it's like to leave who you consider family behind. I just find things that remind me of them. And I take comfort in those memories and knowing that they're mine, and that perhaps just like I see things that remind me of them, they see things that remind them of me. And we have those memories to, I guess, share and hold together.
Jasira will start stroking her left earring. But in my culture, we don't get to love each other, I suppose, is what you would convey for most family. We're effectively all set up as a competition. And the one that wins in the end is the one that gets to live.
Well, you say you're not allowed to love, but it sounds like you clearly love this person.
I spent my life training to be the better part of him. And now he is the better part of me.
Does the earring that you're stroking have a gem in it?
It does.
Boko is going to look at Jasira and say, "These individuals you speak of, you say you have lost them. This loss, does it mean they are beyond being found?"
It means they will never be tangibly here again, like you or me. But perhaps when I meditate, I keep trying to speak to him.
One thing that I admire about you, Jasira, is you have the ability to craft and to create. But my abilities are slightly different, you see. I have the ability to call and to listen. This may perhaps be something that can aid you, give you closure of some kind. But it is not a promise I can make. But it is a chance.
Maybe sometime. For now, it's good to see that your enemy and her brother can be friendly.
Boko nods and says, this offer, it remains open. It requires you to be willing and to be ready. And I will be here if you decide you are.
She just very solemnly nods and takes a deep breath. And her kind of stoic facade kind of returns.
If you need a sparring partner to take some of the frustration out, may I suggest Roland?
Hey!
He snickers. Perhaps in 4 hours. I must meditate.
I suggest the Shalt. He didn't take much damage in the fight.
Hey!
I would spar with you if I didn't have 3 hit points left.
After all them steam facials over the
Oh,
combat,
okay.
no.
It's not that I don't deserve it. It's just play.
I am one bitch
It's
slap
fine.
away from
I don't
pushing up
think you
daisies.
shot a single team member in the last fight, so it's fine.
It was pretty close to hitting Jasira again, though.
Yeah,
if I
it was
recall.
really
It was close. It was close.
Alright. Don't worry, I've adjusted some things. We shouldn't have that problem as we're going forward.
It
Beautiful.
inspires a lot of confidence.
All right. Well, as you all complete your rest, for brevity here, we will get to the next morning. And in the morning, Arinami is nearby the water, kind of looking out, and this large creature begins to come up and emerge from the water. And you see this massive whale. And as it opens up its mouth, the water kind of falling free from it, there's almost a small little chamber built inside on the tongue. Seats and rails, different types of storage within. And as the Tritons begin to get inside of the mouth, beckoning for everyone else to join, despite some reservations from many of the event individuals.
I wish Sindri were here.
I know.
I'm sorry, but this is illicit ship 2.0.
No, the tentacles are on the inside this time.
There's no tentacles this time.
Fine.
Yeah, go inside.
The slight exasperation in the DM's voice when he goes, "There are no tentacles this time."
This time.
We'll
This
find them.
time.
But regardless, as you all make your way down to this whale ship, for lack of a better term, and begin the journey over to Port Verge, that is where we will go ahead and wrap up for tonight. And so we'll finish up here with a quick narration, and then we will go ahead and close, and we'll be out again. We'll be out next week. just for our monthly off week. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks from then. So I'll go ahead and close it out. Ooh, maybe. There we go. With success came attention, both positive and negative. Another captain, Jerax, brought his own ship to join El and Malian's. Jerax's own brother, Osama, and their uncle proved to be incredibly competent. El's own crew grew in size and experience, taking on more and more risky targets and each time finding some way to emerge on top. But as with many of these stories, eventually there was a challenger that proved to be more complicated than the captain or her crew were ready for. In this case, it was El's two brothers. That is where we'll go ahead and leave things off for this. Please join us again in 2 weeks where we get back to the story and see if we can track down Clyde and Sindri wherever they are. We'll see you then.